Someone next slide, please. So the quote of the day, today's quote: "You're never too old to set another goal or dream on your dream." So that's up to you. You can think big on the quote of the today. Next quote. So today agenda of today, you're going to have a quick ice break. That the meeting the session expectation. Then we can give you about the community, what you need to know about the community. Then our speaker today will take us through the CACD with Jenkins. Then some Q&A question. Then you can call it a session today. So in the icebreaker, just in the chat as you're joining, you can type in your name or type in your name. Also, if you also can speak, you can just raise your hand and speak it out. You can tell us your name, joining where you're joining us from, and what are you curious to know about the today's session. So from the chat, maybe if you can type in where you joining us from, what is the name. Make the session so interactive. We need to mind to know who you are and where you're joining us from. You can put it on the chat if you want to mind.
Ian Sandy, Sam.
Sam, we can't see the full screen. It's just a portion. I don't know if it's on my end alone.
You're only seeing a
Maybe
portion.
it's just on your end, but on my end, the screen is just okay. So I can see Joseph joining us from Nairobi. Thank you, Joseph. David joining us from Nairobi too. Anthony from Uturi. Ian from Juja, thank you. Joseph Tuku from Thika. Thank you. Karen from Thika, thank you. What are you curious to know about today's sessions? Oyam from Kajiado, thank you. Lagat from Kericho, thank you. Joel from Nairobi, thank you. Abdullah from Kibira. Martin from Wandeni, thank you. Jacob from Juja, thank you. Michael from Kitale. Laban from Ruaraka. Andrew from Embakasi. So you can also add what are you curious to know about the today's sessions? As you're going to tackle about the CACD with Jenkins.
Okay, let me stop sharing the slides and then reshare them. It seems some people can't see the entire slides.
I just wanted to know about the creation of the pipelines. Creation and developing a pipeline, developing and deploying programs. Thank you, Joseph. All of that will be tackled today. Something the positive feedback on the slides. Maybe you can go for the next slides. So yeah, what is your meeting expectation? So there's some few things you need to do for the session today. You can mute yourself if you're not speaking, and if you've got a question, it will be respectful if you raise your hand or put your question on the comment on the chat or the comment section. Then be respectful and be curious to learn. Next slide. Yeah. Few tips, few things about the community. Our mission as the Nairobi Dev community is to create a supportive and inclusive community that value diversity and supporting learning and growth. So learning and growth, this what as you are doing, you are making for you these sessions. This is what you are doing part of it as supporting, making the learning and growth part of it. The next slide. Our vision is to be a leading DevOps community in Nairobi and beyond, driving innovation and empowering professionals to excel in their careers. I'll be glad to get to see ourselves not only in Kenya or in Nairobi, but let's drive our roots to the African part of it. Next slide. Yeah, the team behind the Nairobi DevOps, the one sharing the slides today, that is Samuel Kadima, is the founder and the director of the community. Mamoon Bwana who is mostly on the chat, is the assistant director of the community. Maslin Mochama is the community outreach manager. If you need anything to reach about the community, Maslin is the person to reach out. Samson Kalume is the program lead. Ian Rotich is the assistant outreach manager and the treasurer of the community. Alvin Ndogu is the project lead. Yeah, we have an organization in the GitHub. So if you need to get in touch with any project that you're doing in the community, Alvin is the person to reach out. Emma Gachoki is the event and the social media manager. Then behind the mic here is Lawrence Juma, is also assistant event manager, part of it. Then you've got Franklin Odd, the administrator. Then Ivy Chepto with the creative manager. Then you've got Daniel Orega with the assistant creative manager of the team. Next slide. Yeah, you being part of the community and whatever that you think you can help into the community, you can help by running the workshops and giving talks on topics that come easy to you, just like Jacqueline. Jacqueline is part of the facilitator today. Then connecting us with the DevOps professional. This means that anybody is willing to share knowledge about the DevOps culture. It will be a very good thing to reach out and connect with them or her. Then giving feedback, be it a positive feedback or a negative feedback. We are here to learn, correct ourselves whenever we go wrong. Then sharing ideas on what will make the community better. Yeah, be it a small community that is growing up, you are never perfect. So whenever you see what you can be making us a better community, you're free to share out. Then sharing a post to your channel. Yeah, as you are in the social media that you are in Twitter and LinkedIn, you can also join the platform so that you can be sharing whatever or resharing or posting whatever that you are posting out on the channels. Then you can also be documenting our activities, then organizing events. Next slide. Yeah. So welcome to today's session, that is CICD with Jenkins. Our speaker today is Jennifer Kibiri, who is going to take us the session, and she's a software engineer. So Jennifer if you're in the call, you can take over the stage as you introduce yourself more.
Okay. I'll turn on my camera for a few minutes.
There was someone's before Jennifer goes. I think there was someone whose hand was up. Don't know if she had a question or. You can ask the question.
Maybe he or she can shoot it out before the speaker started the session.
Yeah. Okay, Jennifer, you can go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. That was a wonderful opening. Okay. Yeah. So I'm Jennifer Kibiri. I'm a software engineer at Kodali. That's a startup, Kenyan Estonian startup located in Nairobi. And today I'll be taking you through CICT with Jenkins. I have a cold, so yeah, I don't really like my voice as of now, but yeah, bear with me. Okay, we can begin with. I'll share my screen to begin. Okay, so let me know when you can see it, and if I need to zoom in or so that you can see it.
We can see.
Yeah, the screen is visible. Yeah, thank you. You can go on.
So today the topic is automate your software development workflows with Jenkins. Yeah, also that's the session topic. So why you need to automate your pipeline and why it's important. So we can start with the introduction. This is the overview of what we'll be covering in this session. So introduction to build automation tools, how to install and set up Jenkins, install and use build tools in Jenkins, different types of jobs you can configure in Jenkins, and then installing Docker in Jenkins container. Then you be building your pipelines from scripted pipelines or directive pipelines. Then we'll go over the Jenkins files in details, Jenkins shared library, and then Q&A session, and then we can wrap up. So to start with the session, I'll not go over the theory so much. It was covered, most of it was covered in the previous session where we had a GitHub Actions session with Chris. But ideally, building automation involves automating the processes of compiling, testing, and packaging software so that you can eliminate the manual and it can be error-free. And the benefits, it saves you time, so you don't have to like build, run tests, and then push if it's an image, you will push it manually to Docker Hub. And then it ensures consistent, reproducible builds across different environments. Let's say you have a development environment, staging, QA, and then you have prod. So you can produce almost similar images without bugs. And maybe if you have versioning, then the versions can also be similar. It also provides feedback on code changes, allowing for early issue identifications. This is where let's say you are working on a feature and then you push your code to GitHub and it fails. You probably want to configure email notifications to notify the the developer or who is responsible for the project that a certain build has felt that could affect the product being released to the customers. And also, another benefit of automation is enable faster release cycles, and you can ship your products faster. So we have the developer, the software development process as we know it. So we have you work on your code locally, and then you push your code to Git. You test your code, or if you are, let's say you have not automated your workflow, so you start from dev, then you test, then you push it to Git, and then you can build your images, and then you can push them to an image registry like Docker Hub, and then you can deploy. If you've not automated that, so you will need to SSH into a server, pull the image, and then you can run your container based on that image. But if you've automated, then it's you'll work from, you push your code to Git, tests are run automatically, then your code is built and pushed to Docker Hub, and then it's deployed depending on which servers you're operating on. Okay, so what is Jenkins? Jenkins is a tool you install on a dedicated server, and it has a UI configured for you. You can install the tools you need to get started, like Docker, npm, Gradle, Maven, etc. Then you can configure different tasks, like you can run tests, you can build app, you can deploy, you can generate reports, and you can also send out notifications. The last thing is that you can automatic trigger the workflows. You'll be using webhooks. Yeah. So to get started with Jenkins, what you need is if you want to run tests, then you need the build tool installed, like Maven, npm, to run your project. And if you want to build your applications, maybe you want to build a Docker image, then you need Docker installed in Jenkins so that you can run the commands using Jenkins to build your image automatically. And also, if you want to like publish your Docker image to Docker Hub, you need to have your credentials configured in Jenkins. So we will also look at the credentials manager. Okay. So what Jenkins can do is that you can run your tests, build your artifacts, publish, deploy them, and also send your notifications. Okay. Okay. Jenkins can integrate with a lot of technologies. Like I don't think there's any cloud platform that cannot integrate with Jenkins. So it has a lot of support from open source community. So there is basically any plugin for any platform you're looking for to help you with deploying your products there. So like be it NetSAS, AWS, DigitalOcean, Docker plugins, anything you want is simply there. So advantages of using Jenkins over other build tools is that it has an extensive plugin ecosystem. So Jenkins provides a vast plugin ecosystem that enables seamless integration with various technologies and platforms, offering flexibility and customization options. It has. We'll explore the plugins and you'll see it's a lot. Then we have strong community support. Yeah, it is an open source project, so meaning that any request or any issue you face can be easily addressed, and it's always up to date. And also scalability and distributed builds. So Jenkins is mostly built for large projects and large teams because you can scale it, you can use it for different projects, and yeah, mostly, and versatility and integration. Yeah, just as like I said, it can integrate with a lot of tools and platforms and languages, and it's free and open source. As long as you have a dedicated server or a free server running somewhere with a few resources, then you can simply install Jenkins and avoid the cost of paying for a strong CI/CD pipeline tool. Yeah. So installing Jenkins, you have two options, and so one is installing it directly on your OS, but in this one you'll need a few things. One of them is you need Java installed. So if you okay, and the next option is using Docker installation. So you can just pull the Jenkins image in Docker Hub, and you can run a container, and you can have your Jenkins running. This is usually the recommended option most of the time. Okay. Yeah. So depending on where you are, if you have Docker even in your PC, you can just set it up. If you have a server, you can just spin up a Docker container and run your Jenkins from there. Yeah, mainly because it is portable. Yeah, this okay. Consideration going into Docker, I'll be exploring the advantages of using Docker, which I'm really not going to today. But installing that is it's easily portable, maintainable, and you can easily destroy it anytime you don't want it. Uh, so setting up Docker, I think we can start with that. We'll be using AWS. So I'll create an instance where we can just run our server there and then install Jenkins. So Jenkins demo. Then it will be an Ubuntu server. And then I'll be using a free tier. You need to like have more than 1 GB, so maybe you can check. Okay. You can just go with this one. We'll try maximize our resources, but you need like more than 1 GB storage for everything to work without crashing. You can allow the SSH traffic from anywhere for now, because I'll just be doing a demo. I don't want to use my IP, but this is usually the recommended practice. Yeah, or at least the only IP is needed to access that server. And you need to have a key pair. I have an existing one, so I'll just use this one. And yeah, I think that's all we need to get started. Yeah. Okay, so I think it has finished initializing. It's active, so we can connect. So we'll be using the SSH client, and we have an example of how you can connect here. So I'll just copy this command and I'll open my terminal. You have to make sure you have specified the correct location of your pin file. So you have to specify -i and then where your pin file is located. So mine is in the current folder, that is in the desktop folder. So this is the server. We'll be installing our Jenkins here. So the first thing you want to do is update. After that, we will install Docker. So just sudo apt. Yeah. The quickest way is to just write Docker and then it will give you suggestion. So just copy the command, or you can install it. Okay. And verify if it's installed, and just write a command to list all the containers running. Okay, if we don't have the permissions to run Docker, so just write a few commands. I have these ones. I have the commands in my notepad, so I'll just copy them and explain what is happening. So you need to add Docker, the newly installed Docker user into the Ubuntu to have the almost the same execution rights. So I'm hoping it will work. Not yet. So you can add that. You can add it. You can add Docker in a group called Docker. Okay, already exists. Okay. Okay, and oh, we also have a Docker socket that needs execution rights. A minute. Probably it will work right now. Yeah. You need to make sure that your Docker socket has permissions to execute on your terminal. Okay. So from there we will run a few, ideally one big command to have your Jenkins running. So I'll just type it here. Docker run. We map the port 8080 and the containers port 8080. And then also we need a port. We need to map the port for Jenkins agent, that is usually 50,000. And then we can map the volumes. Okay, we can make it better. We map our Docker socket here. Also we can, okay, that only come done. So this is on our local server. We need to map the Docker on our localhost on our server to the Docker on the container we are launching. So we have like run docker.sock. And then we can also map our volume so that we can have our data persisted anytime a container exists. We don't have to configure Jenkins all the time. So we have home. So all data for Jenkins is stored in a folder called var inside the Jenkins container. I think that's it. And then you can specify the image. The image we are pulling the latest image from Jenkins. I think it's done. Okay. I forgot to run this in an interactive shell, so I'll just have to. Okay, we need to run the command in detached mode, so we can just put -b here, so that we can have the control of our terminal. So now if you do docker ps, we have Jenkins running input 880. You can try access that from our browser using the public IP. In the ports we have mapped. One last thing is we need to go to our security group and open and add port 880 to our security group. We can edit inbound rules, and we can add rule, custom TCP, and then make port 880 accessible. For now it will be to anyone, and then you can save it. So right now if we try access that, we'll have access to our Jenkins UI. So this is the first thing you see when you launch Jenkins. And to ensure Jenkins is securely set up by the administrator, a password has been written. So you are given a path here. So if we enter in Jenkins container and write this command, we can get the initial password. So that's the next step. We have the container ID. We can do docker exec we need an interactive terminal and container ID, and then you can use bash. Yeah, so we have that one. So it opens up as a Jenkins user. We're inside the Jenkins container. So I'll just copy the command again. And we can cut into that path to get the access to a password. So just copy it and add that into your administrator password, and then you are in. So you can install the suggested plugins, or you can choose the only plugins you want. So for now, we'll go with the suggested ones. This might take a while, maybe a minute or so. Well, I'm seeing a comment here. Let me know if I need to maybe go slow. Yeah, it's done installing. So the other thing you can do is you are presented with an option to create a user instead of using default admin. So you can maybe create a new user. You can create a password. And admin mail. Then you can save and continue. Okay. I should not add spaces to the username. So this is the IP. This is your Jenkins URL. So anytime, let's say you need to add a webhook into Jenkins, or you need to access your UI, this is the link you'll be hitting. Ideally, it's the same link we started with. So you can save and finish, and then you can start using Jenkins. Yeah. So yeah, this is the Jenkins UI and all its glory, and you have you're presented with items on the menu. You have your dashboard here. You can log out. You can view your profiles. So there are two users in Jenkins. So there's the admin. The admin can see everything in the dashboard, like manage Jenkins, anything that helps in setting the infrastructure, adding users, installing plugins, running jobs. So we can start with the first item here. So the new item, this is where you come and start with creating your pipeline, depending on which pipeline your projects fall into. And then people stuff is where you manage the, oh no, this is where you see the users invited in Jenkins. And the build history, this is where our data, if we have any previous pipelines, all that data will be listed here. And manage Jenkins, this is mainly for admins. So you have system configurations. So if you come here, this contains the data for Jenkins. It's slow. So this is where all your data is stored, and the number of executors we have. You can set up as many as you like, depending on the resources you have in your server. And also, maybe I could talk about Jenkins slave and node masters. So currently, or in this session, we'll only be working with masters. With master, will only the master node will be executing all our tasks. But for best practice, you need to have a few worker nodes so that the master can only do the scheduling work, and it can delegate all the tasks to the worker nodes. If you are running a Windows job, you can have a Windows worker node. If you are running a Linux job, you can have a Linux worker node, Python node. Yeah, depending on how many you want. And with Docker, that's easy to set up. And you also have a Jenkins URL. And
Hi, Jennifer. Before you jump into another step, someone is asking what are the executors?
Executors, these are the how many jobs you can have running per build. So right now we have two. You can increase that maybe to, I don't know the limit, but let's say you can have about 5 jobs running concurrently. Yeah, depending on the resources you have. If you want a more number of executors, then you need to have more worker nodes so that your pipeline cannot be slow. Yeah. So I think I'll just limit that to 2. I don't know if I've answered your question. I think the last thing I want to cover here, we have somewhere you can set up your email notifications in case your pipeline fails. So you can just do, let's say, if you want to use smtp.gmail.com, and then just hit advanced here. You can use SSL, and mostly for Gmail use 465. And yeah, that's much it for setting up the email. So in case your build fails, you'll get a notification. So you can save that. Oh yeah, back to Jenkins. We have the tools here. So here I think we have you have a few installed build tools like Gradle and Maven. So if you install a plugin like Node.js, it will be listed here, and you can add it, and you can specify the versions you want. Yeah. So these ones, you need these ones to maybe run tests and build and package your projects. Yeah. The other part is the plugin. So on the plugins, you can do your update available plugins, then you can install. For now, we can do like a Blue Ocean plugin. This is a nice UI for Jenkins. Okay, you don't. For more information, you just click on it, and then it opens up like documentation and details on how to use it. but you can just click on the checkbox there and you can install. And down here you can see the progress if it is installed or not. And then yeah, so here for the nodes, this is where you set up your worker nodes. So for now you can see we are running on one, which is a Linux. So this is our master and this is what we'll be using. So you can add more, but that might be a topic for another day. And security, maybe we can start here. Okay, I'm not sure I've ever used this one, but if we need to come back, we can come back to it. So for credentials, yeah, this one will be using it mostly to manage and see the credentials you have, like GitHub, Docker, your server keys. Yeah, so this will be a common page. And then we have users. For an admin, I can create a user as well. So maybe we can do like a dev, kind of password. I don't think we have a limit of how many users you can create, but this is like for the admin only. Yeah, I think we are done with this part. I'll not be going over. Okay, maybe one more important. This is prepare for shutdown. Maybe you want to update your server and you have running jobs, or in maybe later in the day you want to run more jobs. So if you come here and click on prepare for shutdown and you maybe give a reason, then Jenkins will not take up more jobs. And yeah, when it's back again, then it can take on more jobs and continue with the workflows execution. Yeah, that's basically much it on the admin part of it. So for my views, you'll see the jobs currently running, and then these are the two executors we had, so we have two, so none of them is currently running any workflow. Okay, I can just put back the dashboard. So yeah, this is the plugin we installed. We have Blue Ocean. This also provides a nicer UI than what we have for Jenkins. Right now we don't have anything to display here, but once we have our workflows running, you can just see the errors presented in a nice and readable format, so you can troubleshoot and also you can share with other people. Yeah, so we can start creating our first job. We have I'll be only talking about 3. So we have freestyle projects and multi-branch and pipeline. So we have pipeline project, freestyle project. This is usually it's a bare metal. It's the basic pipeline for any project. We can start with my first job. This is the most simple workflow pipeline you can have in Jenkins. Okay. This one is used to maybe execute like tests, build your Docker images, run scripts that are not even on GitHub. Like let's say you want to do a data dump from your production DB to your staging DB. You can write your command there, and anytime you need, you can trigger a build anytime you want that command executed, instead of you writing the command every time. So we can start with a basic command. So you can write execute shell. So here I'll just use a basic Linux command. Echo, it will print the command on the terminal when it's being executed. So you can hit just a minute. Let us go back to the dashboard. Yeah. So on the build history, the build of that job will appear there. And if you, okay, this is my views. So this is where the job is currently. So if you click on it, it will brings up a dashboard for that specific project you are trying to build. And now if you build, you have a build number, and you can click on it to see the information. Also output, you can get like a hello world or something. So that's the bare minimum you can do with that. So the next thing we can do is we can install a plugin like Maven or Grado. Let's go to manage Jenkins, and then we can install plugins. We can start with Node.js one because it's not available in the plugin list. Node.js. Install without restart. Yep, it's done. You can go to manage Jenkins, and you go to tools. There are two ways you can install plugins. One is through the UI, like we have just done. But to make it work in your freestyle projects, you need to have it added. So we can have like Maven. Common practice is to have it in versions like 3.9.3. Then you can select an installer. You can run a shell command. You have commands here, but for now, I think I'll just choose the Apache. We'll just install from Apache because it's for a demo, and then you can save it. I think we can also do the same for Node so that we can have to. Yeah. So once it's installed and saved, you can configure. You can also choose the version you want. So for the Node one, you can also do Node 20.4.0. Yeah, and you can. Okay, you need to place where you want it downloaded from. So I'll just pick from Node.js org. So you can save these. So if we go back to our pipeline, we can do some few commands there. So you just go to configure. Okay. So right now we are just using the terminal. We're not pulling any command from Git. So if we delete this one, to run the commands from the plugins, you have to select them here. So if it is Node.js, you have to select the one you have added in your project. Otherwise, your build will fail. So maybe we can. We can do like console.log. And, okay, let's say maybe you have a user in your terminal or something. Yeah, I think that's it for Node. You can also add another build step. Maybe we can do Maven. We have Maven plugin installed. So this is usually not the ideal version because you don't have the control over of commands you can use. So you can't come here and maybe write Node.js version because you don't pick. You have a very standard ways of what you can have in your the commands you can run using the plugin UI. So for here, maybe you can just next version. Yeah, and you can save. Then you can retrigger your build. So we have it here. You can get your output. Yeah, it has already failed. So Node.js is not even recognized there, all the version tags. So you are limited in the number of commands you can run there. You can configure that and make it pass, and then we can proceed to connecting the actual GitHub projects. So you can save it and we can retrigger that. Yeah, so these are passing. So the other way to install the plugins, this will be quick. It's installing them directly on the server. So I'll exit from the container. I'll just install the Node.js so that we can have npm installed as well. I think we need that in the Docker container. Okay, I'll be using curl to install it. So we can do to install curl. Okay. Oh yeah, you need to, if you want to install packages here, you need to enter as a root user instead of a Jenkins user. So by default, if you enter into a Jenkins server, it logs you in as a Jenkins user. So to log in as a root user, to specify a user, then 0, that's for the root user, and then you can install curl. Okay, install. So it's installed. So then we can install the Node.js. So just paste in a command. Then we can execute the setup file we have installed for Node. This might take a while. Yeah, I think it's done. We can install Node.js and npm. As we wait, I think we can simply scrap off the data from the plugins, and you can see how easy it is to just install your plugins, to just install the build tools in your Jenkins container and use them instead of the plugins here. So you can just remove these ones, and instead of using the execute node.js or Maven, you can execute shell. So here, okay, taking a while as well. For some reasons, I think our container is exited. I think it's because of the space. We give it like 1 GB, so that is the maximum we could go. So I'll just restart it. Okay. First, we need to check if our build tools were installed. So so we have node installed. You can check npm it's installed. That's also installed. So we can proceed. You can execute shell here, and you can basically write any npm command or node.js command you want there, and it will be installed. It will work in your terminal, also version. So you can save that, and you can build it, and probably that will pass as well. Yeah. So instead of just writing the executing commands that are not for any project, we can configure our GitHub here. So I'll pull up just one repo, and then we can clone that repo, and yeah, I'll be using this one. Just copy, and then we can add the repository URL. If you are running on, if you are pulling your project from a private repo, you will going to add the credentials here. So you'll pick a kind you want. It could be file, certificate, but for now you'll go with user and password. You can write your username there, and password, um, and give it a unique ID like GitHub credentials, and then for the password, just quickly get my password. Yeah. So paste that in there, then you can proceed. So you can select, you have it there, and then you can select the branch you want to run, and also triggers. This will be maybe the last part when we are wrapping up. And yeah, I think that's it. You can save it, and we can trigger the build again. We can check what we have in the console output. So you'll notice that the first it checks out and it pulls the code, which is also in the, you can find it in the terminal. So view ls, and then you go to var. This is where we have all our Jenkins data stored. Okay. You can do ls, and then we have a folder called workspace here. So you can check the data of the access code there. So you can see workspace, you can list it. So we have my, you can also see it, my first job pipeline. Okay. And you can list it. This is what I have in that repo. Yeah, that's it. So maybe the other thing we can do is build the code. Maybe run some tests, push the code to Docker Hub maybe. So we can go into configure again, and to run, let's say, a command to build your code, you need Docker installed in your Jenkins server. So we can check, this is our Jenkins server, we can just check if we have Docker installed. I'll just do Docker PS. We don't have Docker installed, so we can just install it quickly. Have a few commands. Okay. So I'll be using this command to install Docker, and also give it permissions to execute any command, like let's say Docker PS. Okay, we need to give permission to the Docker socket as well in the container. Okay. I need to find out which file is in the file folder. Oh yeah, it does not have a K at the end. Yeah, so right now I think if we execute docker, it will work perfectly. Okay. Not sure why it's not installing it. This is very weird. Oh, okay. When we were running the first command, while restarting the container, we needed to map the volumes. I'll just edit, just put the first command. Oh, everything looks fine actually. Okay. Found. Okay. I'll just do this one. Not sure why it's installing. Yeah, I think I see a raised hand. Tony, I think you can proceed.
Oh, sorry. I thought like from see you're trying to install Docker on that Docker, the Jenkins Docker container.
Yeah.
There's a part where it's saying try running that command, the dpkg configure.
Oh,
I don't know, maybe that's one step you can use to troubleshoot if it can help.
yeah. Let me try that. Okay. Then maybe I can try install it again. Wow. Yeah, thank you for that. I think it worked. It actually worked. maybe what I can try to maybe speed this up and add more resources to our server. Yeah, so now I think if we execute Docker, yes, yeah, we have Docker installed. What we can do is we can start the daemon. Okay. Okay. Okay, this is taking a while, but I'm getting the right command. Yeah, I think you have a hand raised.
Okay, so in this time, uh, huh, so you're trying to restart Docker.
Yeah,
Right?
but if
And
you
it's
start
saying,
it, yeah,
yeah, try using service. So just service start or
service
service
start.
restart. I don't know if that will help.
Oh my god.
Service Docker then start.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, this is going to work. So what I can do is we can use the backup server I had. The EC2 instance I had earlier. I think it had everything configured. Not sure why this is acting up. So I'll just quickly switch off to the other running EC2. This one. Connect. Then SSH. And then you can just switch the ports up. Okay, I think it's still the same. Okay, so I'll just go over the slides then. It doesn't work. So for the UI2, I think that we are done. Also for the roles, we have the user and the admin. So if maybe the server works, we can go over the different way of setting up a user account and an admin account. And then we did say two ways to install the plugins. You can install them on the server or using the plugin manager. And we have different types of job. This is freestyle jobs, and for freestyle jobs, you run uh, simple tasks like execute task, build, and deploy tasks. So this is not a common uh, use of pipeline because you have to chain several of them. Like if you want to test, that is one job. You want to build, that's another pipeline. If you want to deploy, that's another pipeline. So you see, you are chaining them. You're chaining them every time. So you have to maybe deploy a full project. You need like 4 pipelines configured. That's why it's not the most advisable if you are using it for a complex project. The other one is the pipeline job. So for the pipeline job here, it has a very nice UI. If you have the test, build and deploy workflows, then you have a dashboard that ideally you see the pipelines, the different stages you are building. So this is the most common pipeline used in Jenkins. And then we have multi-branch job pipelines. This is where you build your feature branches, fix branches, release branches. If your project has multiple branches and you want to have different build for each branch, then you can build them differently and they won't interfere with your code at all. Um, Also, we have how to trigger your jobs. There are different ways you can do that. One is pulling through SEM. Pulling is where you have like a Jenkins uses like a cron job type of service where it periodically checks like every maybe 5 minutes or so if there are changes in your repo. The only time you want to use that is when you have your Jenkins server and a firewall, and you have to have VPN connected so that it can be accessed by any user. Otherwise, you can use webhooks for the given code repository you are using. Yeah, and the other one is the Jenkins file. I think we can try run the workflow with the minutes. Still not up. Okay, what we'll do is just we'll not run the Docker commands. I also see our time is up. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to go on. Okay, So I think we are back up. So we can go to the next pipeline. This is the dashboard. Or then new item, and then you can choose a different flow. So we have pipeline, you can click on it. And for this one, I think we'll just use the existing code. So you can either choose, you can write your Jenkins code here, or you can use it, you can check it out from your source code. So for now, we'll take it from Git, and it's usually on a path Jenkins file, this syntax. And then for credentials, you pick up your GitHub credentials. I'll also be using this one because I have a Jenkins file here that I'll go over in a minute. So just paste that in there, and then that's it. Only what you need configured is just the URL, your credentials, the branches you need build, and then you can save your workflow and you can build it. So for this one, it will have a different UI from the other one. So if we kind of check it, okay. For some reason, it's also failing. Oh, we don't have a branch code master. I think we have main. Oh yeah, it's a master, unfortunately. Oh well, I'm not sure why nothing is working as of right now, but yeah, I don't think I have any other way to like describe the pipelines. So just wrap up with the files. So for the Jenkins files, we have a declarative approach and the scripted. So the scripted is much easier because you don't write a lot of groovy syntax. So you just configure your builds here, building, testing, and then each will have a feature like a tab to show the steps being built. And then lastly, why Jenkins is actually powerful. We have the shared libraries. If you have 3 projects that need a workflow that looks similar, is that you can write one library, then you can import it to all those workflows, and you just pass in the parameters. And for Q&A session, maybe we have questions.
Yeah, thank you, Jennifer. For at this time, from the audience, we do welcome any questions. Just raise your hand if you have a question or type it on the chat. And also thank you for the feedback of the emoji feedback that you did.
Yes, Tony.
Okay. First of all, thank you for the presentation. Yeah, fact that the slides were there, then you also had a practical presentation. Ndio tuonyeshe how it goes. It was good. Unfortunately, when that things stopped happening, yeah, those kind of things happen. But there's someone in the chat who had like something to say about that. So I don't know if that will help.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But anyway, I wanted to ask, so from your own experience using Jenkins,
Yeah.
have you do you find that it's something that would help admins or even like a developer would use it?
Mostly developers would benefit mostly from it. For admin, not mostly, but for if you are DevOps engineer and you're like you have a whole different team and you need to maybe give testers their own UI, developers their own UI, and then you can manage all of them. You can install for them the necessary plugins. So I think it's mostly developers because
Uh,
once you configure that, um, that's it.
okay.
You don't need to configure it for another
Yeah.
project. Yeah.
So as like the DevOps person, you can install Jenkins and the few plugins, and then the developers now will make their own pipelines.
Yeah. And also it gives you like a nicer UI. So like this is if the pipeline actually worked, this is what could have happened. We have build, test, deploy, build image, and then you deploy. And it also gives you if you want to like downgrade maybe your image. You had built a version 2, but you want to build version 1, which maybe it's stable than version 2. You can just choose to revert your builds, which is
Yeah.
which is ideally nice.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks for the input.
Um,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Any other question? You can either raise your hand, request for the mic, or type it in the chat. You've got a question.
Okay, I'll share the slides with maybe Samuel or Lawrence, then they can be shared to you. Maybe one resource I would recommend for your Jenkins is Tech with Nana. She's one of the um, DevOps lead out there, so you can check out her content. She's really nice. Yeah.
Okay, so I think are you done now, Jennifer?
Yeah, I'm done.
Oh, okay, good. So thank you for the presentation. So I think the slides have been, or you will be sharing the slides.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you for the session, and thank you everyone for being patient throughout the session. So I'll be sharing the recording on our YouTube channel, and the slides I'll share in our WhatsApp group.
Okay. Thank you everyone for joining, and thank you for your time.
Yeah. So for those who are not in our WhatsApp group, I think I can share. Let me share my screen so that you can scan the QR code and join. So you can just allow me to share for a second. So you can scan the QR code and join the WhatsApp group. You can also join the other social media handles. Okay, so I think that is it. If there are no questions or comments, we can call it a day. Happy week ahead.
Okay. Bye.
Rema?
Oh, good evening. This is just to inform everyone that we'll be having a Twitter space on Wednesday. I have sent the link on the chat.
Okay. So we'll be having a Twitter space. We'll be also be sharing that information in our social media so that you can be able to join it.